Hello all, welcome officially to part 1 of this game dev video series. This is Project Campanula, and it's fully on the go now. So a lot of you, hopefully, probably came from that first video, which shows that you've got some interest, which is fantastic. So now we can get into the nitty-gritty parts of this. What is Project Campanula? If you didn't come from the previous video, well, it's my answer to what gaming is really missing. An Attack on Titan mixed with XCOM thing. So let's get into it and I'll show you what I mean. I've got a little bit further into this, so let's go. Okay, this time round I mainly did some tidying up. Started with the enemy units, as you can see. Did forget to record that bit. Bear with, I'm new at this. But as you can see now, they're not people, they are these big creature, Titan-y type things. So I wanted them to put them in just to make it feel a little bit more like what the end result's hopefully going to be. I think it does a pretty decent job right now. They look pretty good. They look pretty good. These are assets from the asset store as normal. If I remember and everything, I'll try and post links and whatnot in the description. So yeah, check those out if you want to use them. So yeah, swinging back round. Hopefully the enemies feel a bit more Titan-y. Is that a word? No. Anyway, they look more imposing now with this alien creature. Next thing that I do after that is I go into the player units a little bit more. Nothing major here, the Cinti assets would have been fine, but I just thought while I was here I may as well play around with changing up the player units as well, just to kind of see how easy it is transferring models out. It's not something I've got too much experience in, so I want to get in as much practice as I can. I definitely learned some things here, so that's good. I've replaced the low poly ones with a bit more anime style, tweaking the sword, the gun, the hair. Did I just say gun? Well, yes. Technically, this system is more designed for guns like a traditional XCOM game, so their characters can shoot. I am going to leave it in there for now. Could be handy for testing later on and whatnot, but it's primarily just going to be there in the background. So ignore it. There will be a gun about. You might see it. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. After these adjustments, I play a few rounds just to make sure everything is still working as intended. It's usually quite good to do this as you kind of go, so that you know what's worked, what hasn't, and you don't get too deep and you don't know what broke it. Yeah, it's test while you go. It's worth doing. Okay, so yeah, that looks good. Oh no. Oh no, please stop that. Well, that's not right. Why is this happening? Let's have a quick look. Okay, when I replaced the enemy model, I forgot to use the game object as the shoot point. And that is required for the game to carry on functioning. Possible to look into making that not the case, so that the game doesn't fully break if this one little point isn't put in, but for now we're just going to re-add that point to this new enemy model. All that gun point is the area where the bullet would be fired from. I figured it's best to keep it in there for now because, you know, I could always add some sort of, you know, acid spit later down the line to give the creatures I'm working on a bit of range in it. Primarily going to be a melee focused thing, but you know, you can spice things up a little bit later down the line. You never know. So I stick that in the mouth just to preempt that. Odds are if they're shooting anything, it's going to be coming out of their mouth from this weird alien creature, so we may as well go with that. Right, let's try this again. And yep, that looks much better. They're actually shooting now, so that's good. We've got them working as intended, and that is exactly why you test things. Small little things like that, you always forget about them, and if I was later down the line and I changed a load of other things, could have been harder to test. I mean, admittedly, Unity is pretty good at picking up these things anyway, so, you know, not the biggest deal in the world. Moving on. Next, I spent way too much time adjusting the enemy's AI to prioritise melee attacks as opposed to the gunshot. I had to go through the code to figure this out, but eventually I did get there. It took me about an hour playing with the code to get this to kind of work. It's not fully there, but it's roughly where I need it to be for now. So we're gonna fast forward through a lot of that because it's just a lot of white screen and text, and that's no fun for anyone to watch. But as a brief kind of rundown of what happened here, the enemy AI actions all get given a priority. Depending on where they are, they work it out in certain different ways depending on the action. Then the actions all get sorted and the action with the highest priority takes effect. So in a very roundabout way, the kind of how that works is that if an enemy is in range of a shot, they'll take a shot at the enemy with the lowest health at the moment. If there's an enemy in range of a melee attack, they will do that because it's stronger, and if there's no enemies in range, they'll just wander around. They don't necessarily walk towards the players unless they're kind of close. But that's kind of it. I've just basically switched around prioritizing shooting for melee. I've kind of made it forget that shooting even exists in its vocabulary. So it's mainly a melee thing at the moment on there. But it works more or less as you may have seen in that little clip. The enemies can actually melee you through walls. I can fix that in code, but for now I just changed the range. I put the range really high on the melee attack for testing purposes. It's never going to be that high, most likely, anyway, so I just dropped it down and it kind of fixed the problem. Technically, if the player characters were right up against the wall and there was an enemy on the other side of that wall, the enemy could hit them and kill them. But it's a fairly simple fix in code, so I'll deal with that when the time comes up to it. If it comes up to it. Because I don't exactly know what's going to change yet anyway. Next, I just play around with it a little bit. I had an extra level, a third level up, just to make sure that the slash action works well enough on multiple levels, and it does seem to, which is pretty great. The landing's a little bit off, they don't quite land straight yet, but that's fine, that's a very small thing, can deal with that as we come along. Next after that, I just spend a little bit of time looking through some of the asset packs that I've got, seeing if I can chuck in a few more environments that are a little bit more on theme. So with this being an Attack on Titan inspired thing, it is going to be somewhat set in a, I wouldn't say medieval, that's a little bit too far in the past, but a kind of industrial revolution, very early days, that type of thing. The next thing you guys are going to see is going to be just a bit of a time lapse of me using one of the asset packs to make the environment a little bit more on point. So enjoy that. Okay, scratch that. You're not going to get that. I started recording and OBS crashed at some point. Got this far before I realised, and the file was unrecoverable. That will teach me to record in MP4, won't it? Also just realised you'll probably hear a little bit of clicking from my keyboard, so I'll apologise for that. I'll try and keep that to a minimum. Didn't really think about that, but that's fine. This is where I've got so far with making a little bit of a nicer area. Still got a little bit more to do, so let's carry on doing that, and that will be the time lapse, I hope. And there we have it. So, I'm going to wrap up this video now. Got a decent way through it, fixed a few issues, mainly made it look a little bit nicer. Hope you enjoyed the process. If there's anything in particular you guys would like to see more of while I'm building this, do let me know. Like I said, very new to this whole thing, so more than willing to have feedback about the game or the videos, either or. I'm open. But yes, I hope to see you guys in the next episode, which will hopefully be in a couple of weeks, where we get a little bit more done. Hopefully we should get some gameplay stuff sorted in that one, which will be quite nice. See you guys later. If you enjoyed the content, please leave a like, subscribe. Everyone says it helps out. I don't know how much by, but you know, everyone's asking, so I'll ask. See you in the next one.